2 budgets ago, there was proposed $2 billion of savings. The Secretary of Health came in and asked for additional dollars for the healthcare, local healthcare centers within each county. That wasn't done, so I was curious if we could get a disposition of that $2 billion worth of savings, what was done, what wasn't done, and then any cost of implementation. If we could get an update of any revenue-connected bonds or tax expenditures or any kind of, even the gaming revenue that's connected to bonds, when those bonds are paid off and how much revenue is going into those accounts. And then we've been back and forth on special funds and encumbrances. Is there any website or any mechanism of transparency to provide a little more detail on encumbrances that agencies have? I know the statute of appropriations on your budget website kind of gives a monthly view, but is there any more little detail on encumbrances that agencies have?
Outside of a monthly view?
Yeah.
Not that I'm aware of. I assume that updates monthly, right?
Yeah.
You're looking more daily?
Or just, I sometimes question, like, how often what are agencies encumbering? How often do they unencumber those dollars, particularly prior year dollars, and then where does that money end up going after they unencumber?
Yeah, I don't think it's publicly available outside of the monthly view, but if there's questions on any certain agencies' encumbrances, we're happy to get that information to you.
Okay, thanks. I want to kind of go through the supplementals a little bit. We had some discussions prior. So corrections, we have inmate education and training at $10 million. Can you give us a little background on that $10 million?
Keep going. I can't find my little paper here.
Under corrections, there's inmate education training, then SCI, $40 million.
So $10 million, I think, is really related to medical costs, related to Hep C, and a settlement with some entities and the Department of Corrections to really provide all levels of hepatitis C, where in the past they were really treating only the most severe.
Okay, so you said that was a lawsuit, so it was illegal.
Yeah, and it's strictly related to medical. On the SDI funding, there's kind of a mixture of what's driving that. There was a transfer from Greater Ford to Phoenix, so overtime and travel and training, overtime related to the drug reduction issue that we had with the mail, and there was an unbudgeted pay increase rolled that as a result of collective bargaining that had to roll to 18-19.
Okay. Could you provide a
Sure.
breakdown of that?
Sure.
Education, early intervention, $14 million.
Yeah, it's just an increase in costs that we're seeing related to services being provided that are mandatory. So we're really just providing that funding.
DHS, we hit cash grants. MA capitation, I found interesting because it's a $240 million increase for the supplemental, but then the governor's proposing a $516 million reduction. Can you equalize that a little bit for me?
So I think, in DHS, we're constantly looking at ways to offset general fund through additional revenue sources, or in the 1920 fiscal year, we are using one-time available federal dollars that we've already drawn down on to offset capitation. In addition, there's about $140 million in new revenue available, and almost all of it would be related to capitation. We are increasing our estimate related to pharmacy rebates. In the supplemental need, there were some assumptions made that did not come to fruition that caused a need for increase related to the pharmacy rebates. So really just some shifts around there on capitation, and in capitation specifically, the hospital assessment revenue that we receive used to offset fee-for-service. So you really see a shift in fee-for-service, and we're shifting it to utilize it, show the reduction of $295 in capitation, just because that's really where the payments go out of now that we've really shifted from a fee-for-service to managed care.